Hi everyone, and welcome to this video around logic and analytics in the Switch platform. Logic is one of the fundamental building blocks for any project, and within this feature is where rule-based fault detection modules are created, shared, and managed. From the creation and deployment of these modules, you can configure helpful, customizable alerts so you're always aware of what is happening within your building. Alerts are created during periods where the logic module remains true for a given duration. Here, you can visualize 3 severity levels of alerts for a given AHU discharge temperature over time. As a user of the Switch platform, you may be interested to see when the discharge temperature of this equipment is meeting the discharge temperature set point that has been set. The 3 severity levels here include a low severity when the discharge temperature is 1 degree away from the set point, a medium severity where the discharge temperature is 2 degrees away from the set point, and a high severity where the discharge temperature is 3 degrees away from the set point. You can see that during this time period, 2 low severity alerts have been generated, 1 medium has been generated, and 1 high has been generated. The periods corresponding to when the alerts were triggered have been highlighted in this graph. You can enable actions and triggers for any level of alert that you'd like to get notified for. Here you can see an example email from the Switch platform alerting the user that there is an RTU with a hot space temperature greater than 2 degrees off from its given set point. You can also set up alerts to notify you when equipment may continue to run even though your occupancy sensors and data show that the space is unoccupied. This allows for proactive action to investigate before waiting for someone to personally notice and wasting energy in the process. I will hand it over to Rachel now, who will walk you through how to create and share a logic module.
Hello everyone. In this portion of the video, we are now going to go through the process of creating the logic module Diane just walked us through and sharing it to relevant air handling unit. In this portion, we're going to create the module from new, but you can also modify or copy from existing, either in the PAL or GAL. To add a new module, we're going to go to Add, New Conditions and Actions. First, we want to rename it, so we're going to do Air Handling Unit, Discharge Air Temperature Performance, and save it by clicking this pencil. The next is to create a new scene name. The first scene we want is when the discharge air temperature is less than the set point by 1 degree. Next, we need to select our layers to add to this, so we're going to go to the left-hand navigation library and search for the templates. In this case, we're using templates since we're in an analytics library. If we're doing this directly at the site, we will choose the exact point names. So I'm going to drag in supply air temperature and supply air temperature set point by simply clicking it and dragging it right under the name. The next point we want to include is the enabling condition. This is the condition under which we want the logic module to alert. So I'll bring in the mechanical air handling unit status. Once I've dragged each of these layers in, I'll click this green box to select the logic. This will now open the properties portion of the left-hand navigation, where I can scroll down to choose this operator. In this case, we want to alert if the supply air temperature is less than the supply air temperature set point. We're going to leave the value as frame value, but under events properties, we're going to change fixed to value up. Here we'll now search again for that template, which is the supply air temperature set point. And we want it to be less than, so we'll choose -1, and we want it to be unit. Since we set the logic at the supply air temperature, we simply want this set point to be disabled. The next is to choose the enabling condition, which is when we want the unit to be on. So we'll choose the operator is equal to and the frame value of on. The next piece of the logic we need to set is the window type. If we choose no window type, the scene will alert anytime all 3 of these conditions are true. In this case, we want to set a sliding window so that the logic will only alert if all of these are true for greater than 15 minutes. The final piece is choosing the action. Similar to how we did with the layers in the logic, we want to choose from the left-hand navigation the action, trigger alert, and drag and drop that in. Here we're going to choose the blue box to set the properties. We want a low-level alert that's equal to a comfort category. Now that we've created this scene, we can choose an additional scene. So if we want to set a high alert when we're greater than 3 degrees Celsius, as you can see, all of the layers have already been added in, so we just need to change the operators. Here we're going to choose greater than, and we want it to be 3 plus. Again, we want the set point to be disabled, and we want the frame rate to be equal to on. In this case, we're going to choose a larger sliding window of 30 minutes. So again, we'll choose that drop-down sliding window and change it to 30. Here we're going to go back into our library navigation and pull in the trigger alert and set it to a high value by clicking on that blue box, severity high, and making sure that the category is also comfort. Now that we've done this, and we can add our remaining conditions, similar to how we just done, we can save the logic module. Now that the logic module has been saved, we can move over to our left-hand navigation and share the logic by clicking on the Share button. Here you'll see that the module has already populated at the top, and we have the option to either share to the current site or a specific site. In this case, we're going to choose to share to a specific site and choose the Denver demo from the dropdown. Next, we want to choose the tag group which we want to share the logic to. In this case, we want to share it to air handling units which have already been tagged in the air handling units tag group. Now we can choose share from the top right-hand corner.